Hey everyone, welcome to iLikeBatteries powerful product review. Let's go over something that's kind of interesting. Let's propose a scenario. You're in the dark, your phone's at 2%, and the power isn't coming back for hours. We've all seen this happen, whether it's winter or maybe you're having some other storms. Most power banks don't have a light. Most flashlights can't charge your phone. Today on iLikeBatteries, we're looking at the Husky 3-in-1. This is the ultimate sub $20 survival tool. Or is it just another Home Depot impulse buy? Stay tuned while we go over and review this today on iLikeBatteries. Okay, so let's discuss what this is, folks. It's kind of cool. You know, if we want to look at this, I will tell you a little bit of teaser, right? Normally you would catch this for about $19.99 at Home Depot, but oftentimes they have clearance. And for myself and my local Home Depot, this was $8.80. And we're going to explain why that is an awesome deal for this and why maybe 20 isn't the right price point for you. Okay, so let's talk about what this is. First off, it is a flashlight. If we look at here, we're going to show you a little bit, change those different things, right? It's also a big light that you can be able to use. Different ways to be able to take this down, right? Dim it and have that. But the biggest thing here is it's also a 10,000 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery that you can use to recharge your phone, your iPad, or other things when we kind of look at this. What it also has, and I want to kind of take a look at the back here as we see it, it has a magnet. This is huge when you want to be able to look at this. Just if you're kind of putting it on something, you could use it. I've done this before, stuck it on a can light when the power's out to be able to give you light in the room. It also has a nice little stand inside here with a pivot that we have too. Let's talk a little bit about what the specs are on this so you understand a little bit more. And I'm going to have to check my notes for this type of thing. So let's talk about where this stands. 2 USB-A outputs, which is awesome. To be able to charge 2 things at once, and USB-C input. Let's talk a little bit about your flashlight. Okay, on high, the flashlight that we saw, right, if we looked up here, is 250 lumens. So essentially, if this power pack is charged 100%, you can get 35 hours of flashlight time. Now, hopefully you're not in the dark for that long, but it could be useful for you as well. If you put on the low setting, which is 50 lumens, so just enough to light a room for you to be able to see, that's going to get you 80 hours. I mean, that's a significant amount of time. That's over 3 days that you'd be able to have light. So this is a great utility if you needed it. If you don't have one type of thing, we're looking at those as well. Let's talk about kind of our utility light as we look at this. As we said, 500 to 800 lumens when it's on full power, when we look at that. And what we get about 12 to 15 hours on that, which is not bad at all. If we go medium, as you saw, I brought that down, it's 200 lumens, and low is 50 lumens as we have it there. So max runtime on the low there is also about 80 hours. So you can see, basically because that utility light is about the same 50 lumens as you'd have with the flashlight, obviously not as focused as you'd have with the flashlight, just a little bit more muted when we look at those type of things. Let's talk about the physical features. So we do have that pivot handle that we said, and we talked about a little bit there. You want to look at the other thing that I had some questions when in the podcast where you kind of say, hey, we're doing some of these things, or I get an email. What we looked at here is the fact that the charge time for an iPhone 14, 15, or 16, okay, about 2 times. That is not bad. So you can get 2 charges out of this particular power pack. iPad Pro, if we're looking at it, in case you wanted to recharge that, about half to 3/4. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where we're at in terms of here as well. It's a great multi-utility for you when you're trying to look at what you can possibly do with this particular item. I also think it fits our criteria. And if you've listened to the podcast, Jeff and I always say we're looking at price per 1,000 milliamp hours. Generally, anytime you can get under $1 for 1,000 milliamp hours, per 1,000 milliamp hours, you're getting a great deal. So when we look at the normal price point at $20, I'm not sure if this is really the best deal out there. But if you get this on the clearance section for $8.80, which I was able to get, this is a great deal, and I think it's something that you should probably be able to check out. One thing, weight-wise, I mean, there is a bit of weight because it is a 10,000 milliamp hour if we're looking at that. The other part of this equation is sometimes you want to look at the standpoint that, you know, you might not be somebody who just needs a light. It's a lot of light, and we see a ton of power stations out there that have these type of things. I will say, I'm going to turn this back on for you so you can see this. And we kind of look at that flashlight. It is a pretty bright flashlight, okay? And that's pretty bright. I'm sorry if I'm blinding a lot of you, but that's a pretty good amount of LEDs to be able to get a lot done if you wanted this in a workshop. So let me propose a scenario where I think this works well for you. And obviously Husky is a brand that often is used by folks who are having tools, like they make a lot of tools. I think this is great for you potentially to keep in the car, right? So if you're somebody who's sitting there and you don't have something in the car that you're able to keep, this is great because there's those times where something might happen and you're on the road and you got to check the engine, you got to fill up your tire, any of these other type of things. This is a great one too. It also saves you that problem of like, what if you can't charge your cell phone and you don't have that ability? It's a great ability to do. As we said, iPhone 14, 15, 16, 2 times charge. So that's going to get you a lot out of here. Let me propose a second scenario that I think works as well too. If this is something you want to use in your garage or something else. So if you've got all your tools and you've got that, and you have maybe a shed, like I have my shed, and I don't have power that's run to that. We're not talking about the battery shed. There's plenty of power at the battery shed. We recharge that all the time. This is more like my shed where I keep my tools and different things. I don't have any power running out to that. So if I go out there at night, I have to go out there with potentially a flashlight or something. This works awesome to be able to keep into there. The other thing that I've used this for, and this is another one because I got 2 of these, I'm able to test this out but keep it here as well. It's maybe a new thing that we're looking at is potentially putting some of our items on eBay, creating iLikeBatteries eBay store. So if you like that, put in the comments, I like that, thumbs up, whatever you want to say. Definitely iLikeBatteries eBay store would be great, where we kind of take some of these things that maybe we used and tested and we sell them at a discount to you. The other great part is I often like to be able to have my music playing, and I have Goal Zero speakers that are kind of my older speakers. This is a great way to recharge those speakers such that you don't have to bring that speaker in the house and be able to have all those things. So I definitely think this is a great way for you to be able to look at potentially something that you can use in the future. Okay, so final thoughts about the Husky 3-in-1. Specs. I want to make sure we talked about that. So always hard to tell when you look at something like this. Height 9.5 inches, width 1.5, depth 6 inches. So, and assembled weight. So if you're taking this out, about half a pound. The specs say 0.55 pounds. Whole full package is 1.43 pounds when we're looking at this and trying to find things. The real question is, if it's a power bank, I call it pocketability, right? How likely would this be that you could put this in your pocket? Well, at nearly 10 inches tall and weighing over half a pound, it's not something you're going to kind of put into your utility jeans, into something else, maybe in your jacket. But I do think this has some great utility in terms of maybe keeping it in a spot. If we look at it and people are trying to figure out, like, well, how much does that weigh? What's the size? If you get about 2 iPhone 15s, stack them together, it's about that. So it's a substantial power pack. Overall, what I will say is this is a great deal if you're at your local Home Depot or you're out someplace and you get this for $8.80 and you don't already have a power pack that's 10,000 milliamp hours and you don't have a light, I would get it. Otherwise, I actually kind of think it's somewhat of an impulse buy. But thanks for watching. Hey, if you're interested in more of this, don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe. That's how it helps us here. And don't forget, listen to the iLikeBatteries podcast. Jeff and I always have some great content that's coming out. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great, great rest of your day. And thanks for checking this product out.